How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be featuring the Neptune, the tier 8 British light cruiser. In this match I decided to use radar Neptune and well, I kind of have a super scuffed build because we do have defensive AA. Usually I would probably keep running sonar, but we had a unlucky streak of playing tier 8 ships and just simply getting way too many carriers. Tier 7 carriers that still dumpster tier 8 or higher tier cruisers. And you would imagine cruisers, I mean their purpose very late in history were to just sail around and provide anti-air cover. And yeah, even higher tier cruisers struggle to deal any sort of meaningful damage to planes, and you're still simply farmed pretty badly. But yeah, we're gonna make do with what we got. Unfortunately, we try to build for a counter CV measure by taking the FAA, and then we get no CV, which again, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, I guess it's kind of worth it that we don't have to worry about a CV at all. And I'd rather waste a consumable slot, I guess, to not have to deal with CVs. I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But this match, we don't really have any sort of spotting with us in this spawn. We just have another battleship, and I mean, we're kind of going to be forced to spot on our own. Our friendly destroyer is at B, so there's not really much that we're really going to be able to do on our own, especially because there's so many battleships in front of us. And also an enemy Des Moines. Neptune just doesn't have good firing angles, and trying to fight either battleships or even a Des Moines with our bad angles, bad armor, big citadel usually doesn't end too well. I pop my radar just to see if anything is trying to close the distance, and there is a battleship going towards C, and well, I'd rather not get depth struck through the bow because well, obviously that would suck, but that's very, very possible being in a Neptune, and I kind of rather not let the enemy Schlieffen just charge straight in. I start reversing. Enemy Des Moines is actually shooting our friendly battleship behind me, and he got himself spotted. There's not really a lot of good islands that we can actually farm over, so we just have to do our best and see if we can even just poke around our rear turrets and do that thing where, as long as the middle of our ship is behind an island or an object, as long as our rear turrets could get around it, we could stay unspotted. We get spotted very briefly by the Des Moines, so I have a feeling that there's that little rock that we can actually hide behind. I do move forward though, because I'd rather, again, not just get nuked by a Des Moines that can quickly switch to AP because the reload is so quick, and then just nuke our broadside. So we go forward, and then well, yeah, I see a spotter plane, and I just watch the spotter plane take off of the Des Moines. So we start reversing again. Not really a threat of radar, so as long as we put ourselves with that little rock that's protruding on the beach, we can kind of farm this Des Moines without losing HP. And ideally, I mean, he would have had radar, but since we know he has a spotter, we don't have to worry about it. And the thing is, it's not a spotter plane that you spawn with. There's no excuse for this one. He chose another plane over radar. Yeah, kinda tragic. If it was a fighter, I know a lot of people make the excuses that you start with a fighter, but this brother, he has a spotter plane, so there's not really anything you can argue for that. Colombo looks like he's going to try and push the outside where the Des Moines was. There was also another cruiser out there, so we're just gonna start launching some single file torps and hope they end up eating them. I don't really want to stick around here too long, because if I stay too long, then we basically lose our escape routes, and then well, then we get death struck. That's kind of the theme trying to play Neptune. If you're not careful, well, you just end up getting death struck and exploding. I guess it's technically true for most of the tech tree, except Edinburgh, for whatever reason, 30, you can just eat battleship shells and nothing will happen. I pop my radar just to double check before I leave through Charlie. Ideally, I would be able to cap. Didn't really look like that Montana was going to do anything. I figured he was just going to sit there and spawn and bound reverse or something, and then we could just simply cap C, maybe reposition to another island that we could start lobbing with the Colombo and whatever ships decide to push on the outside. But it seems like the Montana has decided that he actually wanted to push in. Wasn't really expecting it. It's getting very close to our detection, and we have an island to our right, so we can't exactly turn away yet. So we have to get over to the opening, back to our spawn as quickly as we can. Montana right on the edge of our detection, so I decide to start opening up, because there's no point in staying spotted just to get shot at without returning fire. We start kiting away as quickly as we can, and I'm only going to hold my shot once I'm actually out of range of the Montana to spot me. We're getting close, although we are probably going to have to abandon this cap because the Montana is still sailing closer to us. Not ideal, but I kind of do get greedy here to try and capture. Not the safest thing. If Montana was a little more aware, he probably would have shot us much sooner. But fortunately for us, our risky gamble paid off, and we were actually able to capture the objective before Montana even shot. I just start dumping all of my torps at the Montana that's charging in. Hopefully we can land some, and if not, we just slow him down. There's not really a whole lot of places to run here. And as we get behind the island, we realize we're spotted. Not really sure from where. Doesn't really make sense. I mean, it probably is the destroyer, but we have no idea where he is. I'm thinking he's somewhere in the enemy spawn, kind of following behind the Montana. But as my detection shrinks, I'm still spotted, so I'm wondering where he is. Perhaps our destroyer that came from B is chasing him, and he has some sort of idea that he ended up somewhere around us. But yeah, staying spotted, might as well start shooting. I try to head towards our destroyer in order to get our radar back as quickly as we can. Just because, I mean, destroyer keeping us spotted for battleships to shoot at is not really ideal. We also don't have smoke because we decided to take radar, which, I mean, isn't really the best choice here. I start following our destroyer because I feel like he knows where he's going. I pop my radar, but unfortunately, destroyer is not even close, so I really have no idea where he is. Probably should have waited until my detection shrank. Then I would have realized the destroyer was not in our radar at all. And yeah, then I would have not wasted a radar. I would have had it ready the next time I actually got spotted. I just thought the destroyer making a hard turn to our spawn, and I guess the top left corner of the map, he knew where he was going because I guess Perceptive would tell him. And well, I guess there was hope that we could radar him, and he wasn't expecting a radar, so he was closer to us than I guess intended, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. Montana still pushing in. We can see his turrets are turned to the other side, so we can take this opportunity to try and shoot Montana broadside as much as we can, dealing as much damage as we can, because our friendly battleships will be broadside to this Montana, and that's not really ideal. We do get spotted, and we're still spotted. DD is definitely chasing, and the enemy gearing is spotted behind our entire team. Not really paying attention. Colombo takes a pot shot over all of these islands, and we're actually very lucky that we didn't get death struck there. A lot of the shells overpenned miraculously, and we're still alive. Gearing fighting our destroyer. He smoked up, kind of relying on our last friendly alive to keep him spotted, as we do go behind an island, but we are also unspotted, which is kind of ideal. Friendly battleship that was spotting ends up going down, gearing on a sliver of HP, shells on the way, and we're able to finish him off. Montana, that charged out, he's on a sliver of HP. I guess he ultimately traded all of his HP for 2 ships. We're hoping to pick up the kill, but Montana does pop a heal, and unfortunately we're not actually able to out DPM him, or at least out DPM his heal, as each tick keeps giving him more and more HP, and also unfortunately destroyer torpedoes end up Short Torps end up finishing him off. Yamato comes around the corner. I'm pretty sure Yamato is what we ended up hitting with all of our torpedoes that we launched in the corner that was originally meant for the Colombo. I beach because there's not really a reason to push out in front of the Colombo, so I kind of rather mitigate as much damage as I possibly can. Preemptively pop one of our super heals because I'm expecting to get hit pretty hard from the Yamato or even the Colombo chiming in at the same time. So I'm just kind of hoping that we don't end up getting dev struck here. Might have popped the heal a little too early. It took like a billion years for that Yamato to shoot. Luckily for us though, dispersion looked horrible and we don't actually get sitted out here. So we're doing just okay. Yamato going behind the island. Unfortunately, another ship that we're not really going to be able to finish off as our friendly finishes off the Yamato. Colombo used his exhaust smoke. I don't know why I popped the FAA. Probably because I thought that was the radar button, even though I have no radars left. Colombo leaves his exhaust smoke and he enters the cap. Time to reverse away. Luckily though, Colombo doesn't care about a Neptune that's so close that you can just dev strike through the bow, and he shoots one of our friendlies off to the side. We just reverse away and we're gonna see if we can make use of the spotting and the thing where we keep our turrets around the corner, but the middle of our ship is behind the island, so we actually go unspotted here and we're actually able to farm relatively safely. Colombo just sailing broadside to all of our battleships coming from sea, and well, fortunately we do finish him off. Very weird Neptune game. I mean, we had a radar and DFA, not things that you would typically find on a Neptune, but also I'm not really sure what the enemy gearing was doing as we get 3700 base XP. Pretty good for a Neptune match, considering the weird build that we had and not really even using it effectively. I think it just goes to show how lucky we were with our, well, we're not our, but the enemy team that just, for whatever reason, didn't shoot at us. We have our Azurli Neptune Minotaur build, so pretty much just lip and one concealment inspiration for stealth radar. Not that we have stealth radar in Neptune. I think our detection is slightly worse than our radar, but close enough. But yeah, somehow we did good in Neptune. But that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more, and share with your friends, or leave a comment down below on other ships you want to see in the future. But anyway guys, till next time, aloha.